welcome back for part 3 of the boat design here. We are going to make the keel, which is the bottom part that goes along the whole bottom ridge of the boat, the gunwale, which is the top edge that goes on both sides, and the chine, which is kind of the middle portion there. And we have the transom here and all these parts here. So we're going to start off by starting with the keel, the bottom part here of the boat. We're going to click on that surface right there. And just as before, we want to use or trace some of these surfaces. So we want that one, these little notches, just like when we've done the interlocking projects in the past, we want to steal those surfaces. And now I'm going to hide those again for a moment. And we got a good look at this now, but we are now going to have a look at the side of the boat there. And this time we are going to say intersect. And again, just like we've done the intersect before, we want to intersect that side. Notice I had to select the side that's where my sketch is intersecting, right? If you're selecting this side and it's giving you an error message, try the other side. All right, and we'll hide that again. We have a nice view of that now. And you know what we probably would do well with is we'll try doing an offset on this. So we'll say offset from this line, and we want to just be a little bit above these portions here, something like that. That looks pretty good. We'll say okay, and that looks good. All right, and we'll give it a nice straight line across the front there, and we'll trim that off. And now when we do this, we are also going to want a nice line up here because the keel, the transom, is going to be right there. So we don't want that portion right there. So we're going to trim that off as well. And so now we kind of can see where everything's going to cross there. We made sure that we weren't too close here, and it's not going to break there. And we are officially ready to extrude this. And we're going to extrude everything. We're getting everything there. If we have any sort of little hangout parts here, we want that bottom edge to be nice and smooth. It's looking pretty good though. Sometimes we get some little weird thing happening there. And then we're going to go for 1/8 of an inch like we have been doing. Look at that. We got a nice little groove going there. All right. So let's turn these other parts on again. And you'll notice right now that this part and this part are actually going to collide there, but we're going to fix that later using a Boolean. But before we do, let's go ahead and create the other edges that we're going to need here as well. So next up is the chine. We'll work our way up the side of the boat here, starting a new sketch on that little surface. And we're going to say, actually, let's start that on that bottom surface. It's going to make our life a little easier, I think. We flip it up there. And we're going to use that spot and all those little rectangles there. And then let's this time do an intersect. No, we want to do a use again. We're going to use, no, we want to do an intersect. I'm going to intersect on this piece so we get that line going right there. And then we're going to hide all that again, and we're going to get another use on this piece here so we get that nice curve there. Then we'll hide it all. We'll have a nice look down from the top here. All right, this is looking pretty good. So we want to have, let's put a center line in there. I guess we don't really need the center line. We'll put the center line in there. All right. And some of these are looking pretty deep. They're going into this pretty deep. So we're going to do another offset like we did on the keel. And we're going to say, oh yeah, we're coming into about there. That looks pretty good, maybe. That's starting to get pretty thick there. So let's keep it probably no more than a 1/4 inch or so. That looks pretty good. We'll say okay. But this is not, this front one is good. We like the look of that. It could probably be pulled back a little bit. And these ones are definitely overlapping the line, which is not something we want to see here. So we want to fix that right now. So let's go back to, we have to do a little tweaking on this. So we're going to say this sketch here, sketch number 6. We're just going to pull that back a little bit. Let's see, does that look good all the way to there? That looks better. Let's see, where's this other one here? Sketch number 5. Let's pull this one back too. Pulling it back. All right. Didn't quite come back far enough. Let's try that again. It's not exact science right now. We're just making it work. We could go all the way to there. Let's see. Go past there, there might be some issues. You know, we might have to go past there. That should be basically as far as we really want to go on that one. And then this last one, which should be the back there. That's really far back there. We want to pull that one up there also. That one. All right. All right, so that kind of changed a lot of things there, didn't it? That looks weird now. Anyway, you got to play around with that. You want it to look like this. I'm going to pause the video as I keep playing with it because you don't need to watch all that. So keep making it work, and I'll be back in a moment. But you just got to keep adjusting things on those other sketches because these ones are just using the other sketches. So keep playing around with it. It's going to take a little bit of time. I'll be back in a moment. You will hardly notice I'm gone. All right, so we're back. It took a little bit of work, but we made it work. So one of the reasons this is a little trickier is because this rear of the boat is much more curved. If it was more of a flat bottom on the boat, this would make our life easier. We are going to go ahead and do one more notch. So we got the notches are going to happen in all these pieces here. The front one here we call this the stem of the boat, where the keel kind of starts coming upwards here. This needs a little bit of work still. So we want to kind of have a notch that we'll say goes something like this. So we basically want this whole thing to kind of be cut out there, so we can have a little bit of a notch there. So I'll just trim back all that stuff here, and I'll delete that. So that's kind of the shape we're looking for on the bow of the boat there, bow being the front. You know, you can kind of smooth that out a little bit better if you like and make it a little more sleek looking, but something like that. And then we're going to say extrude, and I'll pause my video. I'll be right back with you. All right, so we're back, and we got this little thing going like so in the front of the boat there, and we're starting to extrude it. And when you're extruding this time, you might get some funny little spots that are sticking out like that. Just go through and check them. Make sure we don't have little spikes coming out the side of our boat, right? I'm looking pretty good there. Oh, that's not the best there. We'll probably leave that. That's probably going to be all right there. We'll say okay. We'll get me out of the way. Ooh! And look at that. We got the side of the boat there. Oh, that's not quite right. All right, 1/8 inch. There it is. Let's turn on all this so I can see it all in action here. All right. All right. So at the end, when we're done here, we're going to have to do a little bit of sanding just by hand. Just like on a real boat, you can't really get a rectangular piece of wood to fit on this curve perfectly. So we just give it a little bit of extra, and then you come through and like take off this little extra that's hanging out here. So that is perfectly normal when you're building a boat. And then we're going to repeat this one more time, just like we did on the chine. On the top, I believe on this time we will not have to do any weird adjustments here. So let's do this one more time. We'll start a sketch right there. We're going to say use this, and use this, and use this, and we'll use that also. And then we'll say intersect to get the other curve there of the hull along that line. Actually, we want to undo that. Excuse me. We want to do an intersect of this top surface. Oh, we want to use the top surface. Yeah. All right. So we will hide that again, and we are going to turn on all the other parts, though. All right. And let's do an offset again, just like before. We'll pull that out there. Going a little bit past these notches. We want to give a little bit of space there. A little space there. That's looking pretty good. That one might be going a little too far. We'll pull that one back a little bit. We don't really want it to go past this piece here. That looks pretty good. We'll say OK. All right. Oh, actually, I lied. We need to do a little adjustment on the front like we did here. So we're going to say sketch there. We're going to give it a nice top view. There it goes. Line. And we'll go past there. And we'll give it a little line like that. And we want to give it a little bit of a cutout here. So I'm going to hide all that stuff so you can see there again. I want a little bit of a cutout into that front of the boat. So it kind of locks together a little bit. Try and line that up. It's not lining up the way I want right now. So we'll say use that. There we go. Now that's locking in there. All right. And now we can trim off all the extra junk there. Trim, 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 trim. We actually want to get rid of that tip there. We'll put a line right there. So we'll hide everything so you can really see what that's going to look like there. This is all going to be gone too if you want to think of it that way. So that piece will kind of interlock with the other side there. And so let's do some extruding just like before there. Again, we want to trim off any little, make sure we don't get any little extra spikes coming off the side there. That's looking pretty good. All right, we're going to say OK. All right, oops, I did it again. I'm going to say 1/8. All right, we officially have all our parts created. We might have to mirror image some parts, but they are all there. So before we do some mirror imaging, let's do some Boolean. So you can see that this piece and this piece are going to need some notches cut out of them. So let's do these one at a time. We'll say this piece, again, I clicked on Boolean. We want to go subtract, and we're going to say the tool. This one is the correct shape. I like that one. The correct shape one's the tool. The target is this piece. I want it to cut out that little notch of that one there. And it's not cutting all the way through. So actually, I should probably mirror this before I do this. I lied. We're going to cancel that. We're going to say mirror first. And entities to mirror, I need this piece and this piece both to go to the other side. The mirror plane, it should be the original front there because we lined it up off the center of the boat right there. Look at that. We got that happening there. That's pretty good. All right, so let's try that Boolean again. We'll do this one more time. Subtract, tools. These are the correct shape. And we want the target to be this piece. And look at that. It's going to cut that notch in there. That's what we're looking for. And then we also can say, also these need to have notches cut into the keel for that too. So we can do that at the same time. I can add those parts to the same operation here. That's going to hold it together there. Okay. Everything else is looking pretty good here. And we're going to say keep tools so those don't get deleted. And now we're going to have to trim some more tools. This time the gray piece needs the hole to be cut in it. So we're going to say Boolean again. The tools are going to be the ribs. These pieces are the ribs, and those are going to cut into this piece, and this piece, and this piece, and this piece. And you can see now those notches have been cut in there. It's looking pretty good. Actually, the tools, we can also do the transom here at the same time. So the transom is going to do a little cutout on that back piece of the gunwale. The gunwale being the gray piece there. That's looking pretty good. I always suggest kind of looking around and inspecting things before you accept stuff here, just double checking some things. All right, that looks pretty good. And we will say keep the tools. And this is looking pretty boat-like now. I really, really highly suggest that you come through and inspect everything and make sure you didn't forget anything, because look at this, I just forgot this one. The keel needs some notches cut in it right there, right? So there's no notch right there or there. So we'll do another Boolean. Tools are going to be the ribs, and the target is going to be the keel. That's looking pretty good again now. All right, we're going to keep the tools. All right. And now really inspect things and really get in there and look at everything. It's easy to miss something. So I would suggest maybe hiding one piece at a time, going and looking at stuff and make sure we got everything overlapping correctly. Yeah, it's looking good. And you have officially created a boat. There will be additional videos after this one that would give you some tips on how to add things to your boat, like if you want to make this into a sailboat, for example. I will have a video on that, a little bonus video, maybe some other ones too. We'll see what you students are into. If you got an idea, let me know, and I will try and make it happen here. Other than that, bye, and float on. Boat jokes. Bye-bye.